Hi, it's Jane from Allotment Cooks. I'm down at the allotment and I'm just going to do a bit of a tour if my battery lasts on my phone, and going from where I am here right the way down to where the polytunnel is down there, and show you what I've been doing and a little bit of what I need to do as well. So right at the top of the top plot, just behind me now, ignore the state of those horrendous compost bins, they are not good. I have got already quite a lot of rhubarb starting to come up. Now this area here isn't looking particularly exciting, but this is where the potatoes are going to go this year. So this area, in terms of what I need to do, needs to be dug over, some nice stuff put in there to help the potatoes, and that's where they're going this year. Now I've started making another raised bed, but I've not finished it. So what I've done is my parsnips are coming back up again, so I've sort of just shifted it over where the parsnips are for now, just to remind myself where the parsnips are so I don't end up digging them up. So I'm at my alliums area, and these are my 3 new beds for end of last year, beginning of this year, and these are my no dig beds, and I'm gradually going no dig. Now I'm saying gradually because it isn't a cheap way of gardening, it's a very effective way of gardening, but if you are new to allotmenting, don't feel that you have to do everything at once, because this is great if you have your own supply of compost, but if not, it can be very expensive to buy it. However, no dig is brilliant because it's really good for your soil condition, really good for planting, really good for stopping sort of slugs and everything going into your beds, because according to Charles Dowling, slugs don't like no dig, and it just looks glorious. So in here I have got my leeks, which was actually put in end of last year, so I really should start using some of those. I've got in this one my white onions, and these are overwinter white onions, and I sowed those ones direct. And then next to it are my garlics, which I did in the greenhouse in cells, and then I planted these out about 3 weeks ago, and you can see I've got a nice space next to that, and that's for the carrots. So the carrots are going to go next to the garlic with some French marigolds, so really good companion planting to stop the carrot fly. Now as soon as I do put carrots in here, I'm going to have to change this, because this is scaffolding netting, which is not going to be good enough to keep the carrot fly out. You need much finer mesh than that. So next to that is a strawberry bed, sort of under fleece, it's blown everywhere, so some new strawberry plants in there because I have some quite old ones in, and what happens is the strawberries get absolutely tiny, so it's time to change those. I then have, this is my herby area. Again, it's looking a bit distraught, but stuff is coming back. So this is my tea caddy bed, and in here I've got some angelica which I need to move because it goes mad, the bergamot, which you can just see there's little bits coming back, lemon verbena, which did actually come back last year. It doesn't like frost, but it came back last year. This is lemon balm. At the top or bottom of this, which I need to get rid of this old stuff, I've actually got some lovely lemon balm coming back through, and then the chamomile as well. So I love my tea caddy bed. This one here still has some celery in it, and it does actually have some horseradish in there too. This is my real herby bed. So the rosemary is still looking really good, the sage, curry plant. I have got some oregano in there, some marjoram, some lovage, and obviously the parsley, which we'll ignore for now. That needs coming up. And then I have my mint bed. So I've got lots of different varieties of mint in here. Again, it needs tidying and sorting out, but I love my mint. So next to that, again looking terrible, I know it looks terrible, these are the raspberry canes. Now these are autumn fruiting raspberries, so they don't look very happy, but they're really good fruiters, so they will come back. And then this is the last of the no dig beds I'm going to do for this year. I'm going to gradually do the rest, but gradually. And these are my red onions. So these red onions had also been in the greenhouse in cells. I've got 2 different types here. I've got the red winter, which are quite happy in cells, but I've also got the red electric onions, which I had a lot of losses on, so I don't think they like being in cells, so if I get those again, they will go straight in the ground. Then I have my TARDIS. So this is my TARDIS, also known as my brassicas cage, and I've got lots of lovely cabbages overwintering in there. They're doing okay. The overwintering cauliflower and broccoli we'll sort of just walk away from. I've sown more, they'll be fine. I've got these 3 beds here. I need to replace some of the arches because a couple of them got destroyed last year for the runner beans. They need sorting. And this one, again, it looks like a hideous bed, but this one will look after itself because this is my edible flowers bed. And in here I had last year nasturtium, I had my calendula, borage, nigella, had quite a few edible flowers in here. And the reason why this is going to look after itself is because all of those are prolific self-seeders. Even if you don't want them in that place anymore, if you put them in the ground, just make sure you put them where you want them forever. Because if you have a look here, you can see my finger hopefully, that is a nasturtium seed that is self-sown and it's already started to germinate. It's doing its own thing. It probably won't last if we have a late frost, but it started. And we've also got little calendula seeds. Again, they are everywhere. In fact, I can see little calendula already starting to germinate itself. Just be careful with those ones because they do go crazy. So this bed, this is just a disaster. Now I did have all of my artichokes in here, but I moved most of them down to the bottom plot, which I'll show you in a little bit. I'm going to move those last 2, and then I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that. I'm not sure if I want the fire pit anymore. That might come out. Now into the greenhouse. So we're halfway. And I have sown lots of seeds in the greenhouse, unheated greenhouse. I've put lots of nice insulation up to try to help them. And here I have sprouts. I actually have a couple of cauliflowers that have started to appear. They've been a bit slow. And then I have, again, sown and grown, germinated in the greenhouse, my pak choi. Some of those are missing. I'll show you why in a moment. Then I have spinach, chard and kohlrabi. Again, all sown and germinated in the greenhouse. My Lola Rosso lettuce, the Paris white, which is just starting to come up. And then if we have a look at this one, I've got my kale, I have got, what else have I got in there? Spinach, beetroot, that's a cauliflower there, not much going on there. And then finally in the greenhouse, I've got these. Now these are actually from the school project, and these are the asters and the calendula, which started off in the heated greenhouse at school, and they need to go back, but they needed potting on as well. And then my lovely potatoes for chitting. You can already see some of those starting to appear. So quite a lot of success in here considering it is an unheated greenhouse. I have also moved up my naughty plants, my cucumbers, which I sowed way too early. I know I sowed them early, but they were supposed to be in a heated greenhouse at school. So I've moved those in there, insulated them, covered them over to hopefully they will survive. Now, this area is actually for spring bulbs. Now, Rachel from Good Life Ain't Easy, she gave me a brilliant idea. Well, she didn't give me an idea, she gave everyone an idea. Because she has the same, she has a spring bulb area. But obviously after the spring bulbs are gone, it's just empty. Now where my onions are, my alliums are, that would normally be for my squashes. So I'm going to do basically what Rachel said. I'm going to actually have my squashes in this area here, because otherwise it's just nothing going on for a majority of the year. So these are flowers, and last year I sowed and grew my own little lupins. You can see underneath all this dead foliage that they are starting to come back, as are the hollyhocks. Now my father-in-law, I'm going to call him out on this one. I actually gave him some hollyhocks. He planted them in his gorgeous garden, and then he dug them up at the end of the season thinking that they wouldn't grow again. They do, they come back. So, you know, if you've got hollyhocks, keep them, they come back. Now this giant litter tray over here is actually mulched over my dahlias bed. I would normally pull up my dahlia tubers, but I thought, no, I'm going to chance it. I'm going to try it. It's worth trying, although I don't really want to lose my dahlias. So I've mulched them over and I've left them in. Lots of work to do on all my lavender, but right next to the lavender and my flowers, because I want to encourage the pollinators, is my fruit area. So blueberries, these are the joster berries, so you can see lovely buds coming up on those. I've espaliered these ones just tried to keep them under control. Now I intended on the white currants to espalier those, but not got round to it. And then I've got my grapes as well, which I'm hoping will do something this year, because they had to be moved and they're in the frost and all sorts last year. They weren't happy, so I'm hoping I'll get something. I've then got my thornless blackberries all along here, again espaliered, because they will quite happily go absolutely wild. The problem with that is if they do, you can't actually pick the blackberries. So I've espaliered them. And then my little apple tree, my potted apple tree, the label's flown away, but it is actually a variety that's quite happy in a pot, because down at these allotments we're not actually allowed to plant our own fruit trees, despite the fact that side of the fence is the new orchard, but that's fine. So going into the fruit cage, which needs sorting, I have got my, oh look, it's a ladybird, hello, that's a good sign. These are my red currants. No, these are the black currants, sorry. These are the black currants. Oh, I'm so pleased to see a ladybird. These are the red currants. So again, some nice shoots coming on those ones. There's lots of them. And then the red gooseberry bushes down here, again, some little shoots coming on those. Big thorns. The green gooseberries, again, some little shoots starting to appear on the green gooseberries. So lots of lovely, lovely fruit. I do need to sort out this fruit cage though, because when we had to move it last year after the flooding, me, 2 children, Mr. AC, moving this in high winds with lots of rain, we just sort of threw it in the ground, and it does have gaps, which isn't good. So next to that, coming onto my perennials bed, so I've sort of separated everything into areas. So I need to sort out the ferns for the asparagus and sort out the French marigolds. French marigolds as companion planting for asparagus was amazing last year. I always have lots of asparagus beetle. As soon as I put those French marigolds in, problem solved. They were amazing. And next to that I've got the artichokes that I moved from the bottom part of the top plot. Now, considering this is supposed to be my perennials bed, the sorrel's coming back. The sprouts from last year need to come up because they were rubbish. They didn't do very much. Curly kale's doing well. Purple sprouting broccoli, not even going to show you that. And then the chard, some of it's there, but I've sown some more because some of that was actually relocated, and ultimately I don't think it liked it. Now, polytunnel, last bit, just love it. It's so huge. I am a newbie with polytunnels, and it is really different polytunnel growing than anything else. So I'm trying things out because I've had this April, May time last year. So I'm seeing how I can elongate the growing season. So I've got in here broad beans and some peas. So the peas are early varieties. I've actually got some strawberry plants in here, but they're not mine, they're going to go to school. But they've been sort of safely in here, waiting to go to school, to eventually go in the ground. And then I have these fleece in a polytunnel. Ooh. Now, I read somewhere, so this is an experiment, I don't know if it's going to work. I hope it does. Underneath one of these are carrots. So I've got early nantes, which have gone in the ground in the polytunnel with fleece over the top. So we will see if I do actually get any carrots. It'd be nice, it's a bit of an experiment. Should work in theory, double bubble. We've got the polytunnel, we've got the fleece. Who knows, actually it's quite warm in here as well. Underneath this one, I have got, other than a jumping spider, that's a bit worrying, I have got iceberg lettuce and I have got little gem. Again, they are early sowers. And then these, under here, this is my little trial and that's my pak choi. So seeing if that will work, because if it does, brilliant. It means I can get a successional growing in here, get some pak choi, some nice healthy greens to actually get me started. So I do need to still sort out the outside of the polytunnel down the edging. This is a nightmare. My plan was to actually move some more of my rhubarb to this side, because if I come right the way around here, I've got all these. I'm just going to do salad, there's more celery in there. I've got quite a lot of rhubarb crowns here, quite a lot. So my idea, although I've not done it yet, is to move those rhubarb crowns from that side of the polytunnel to this side of the polytunnel, just because being that side, quite often I just about forget about them, and then I go to them and they're huge, but if they're this side of the polytunnel, I won't be able to ignore them. They'll be there. Again, horrendous compost bins. I've got my hot compost bin up there, which is a good one. So that's the plot so far. That's where I'm up to. Got quite a few things sorted already. Got quite a few things still to do though. So I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you have a really good season, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.